Hello, I'd like to introduce Yuki Kusano. She will give us presentation on self-esteem between Japanese and foreign college students. Are you ready to start?
Hi everyone, my name is Yuki. Today, I'd like to talk about self-esteem between Japanese and foreign college students. It is said that the self-esteem of Japanese people is lower than that of foreigners. According to Children and Families Agency, 70% or more of European and American answered, I am satisfied with myself. Meanwhile, around 57% of Japanese people agreed with the statement. College students experience many things and grow as individuals. So it is important to gain more self-esteem. Yatagawa stated that time at college is a period to communicate with random people. So it is important to gain more self-esteem to communicate with people better. So the purpose of this presentation is to examine the difference of self-esteem between Japanese and foreign college students. This is today's outline. Let me talk about self-esteem. According to Collins Colbert Dictionary, self-esteem is how you feel about yourself and whether you have a good opinion of yourself. It is important to live a happy life. I show 3 good effects. First, physical health. Higuchi and Matsuura stated that people with high self-esteem lead to healthier lifestyle. Second, mental health. Ohigashi and Yamamoto stated that people with low self-esteem tend to be depressed, while high self-esteem have a stronger sense of identity. Third, well-being life. Oates and Robin stated that high self-esteem to lead to success in relationships, work, and health in the future. So let me talk about my research. According to Yoshimoto, research on self-esteem should include self-acceptance and relationships with others. So I included these aspects involving 27 Japanese and 20 foreign college students. These are results, and this graph shows results for self-acceptance. And acceptance of Japanese college students are lower than that of foreign college students. But relationships with others of Japanese college students might not necessarily worse than that of foreign college students. So let's summarize the point of this presentation. The purpose of this presentation was to examine the difference of self-esteem between Japanese and foreign college students. And it was found that the Japanese college students have lower self-acceptance than foreign college students. However, relationships with others of Japanese college students might not be different with the foreign college student. So in my next presentation, I analyze these things. So please look forward to my next presentation. That's all. Thank you for listening. Hello everyone, my name is Yuki. He is Sosuke, and he present that relationships between pets and their owners. Are you ready to start?
Hello everyone, I'm Sosuke. Today I would like to talk about relationship between pets and their owner. In recent years, pets have become an important source of emotional support in people's lives. Dog and cat are the most common household pets, and their influence on human happiness has attracted considerable attention. Understanding how dog and cats relate to human happiness is important for better symbiosis. The purpose of this presentation is to clarify the differences in happiness uh, between people who own pets and those who do not, and to compare the relationship and happiness level of dog owners and cat owners. This is today's outline. First, I will talk about differences in happiness depending on pet ownership. Second, I will explain personality differences between people who own dog and those who own cats. Finally, I will conclude the relationship between pets and their owner. Differences in happiness depending on pet ownership. There are differences in daily happiness depending on whether a person owns pets. Okagawa states that uh, people who own pets tend to have stronger social connections and higher level of happiness. In addition, it has been found that taking of pet create rhythm in daily life and reduces feeling loneliness. The personality differences between people who own dogs and those who own cats. There are personality differences in dog owners and cat owners. Tajima found that dog owners tend to be more extroverted and cat owners tend to be more introverted. The result of questionnaire conducted in this study showed similar findings. In my survey, 100% of dog owners were classified as extroverted, while 16.5% of cat owners were classified as introverted. Let me summarize the point of this presentation. The purpose of this presentation was to classify the personalities as a relationship between pet and their owner. I'm researching, from this research, I found that people who own pets tend to choose pets with personalities like their own. I'm researching just the outlines. Thank you for listening. Uh, his presentation is what is a suitable part-time job for college students. Are you ready to start?
Uh, Hello everyone, my name is Arata Goto. Today, I would like to talk about a part-time job suitable for college students. Takenoshita says fatigue appears noticeably in students whose part-time hour exceeds 30 hours a week. Also, symptoms such as dry mouth, headache, back pain, and Disney's appeared. I thought it was necessary to provide students guidance about the working hours of part-time job. Also, Iwata says there was a tendency to neglect academic work to the more they emphasize part-time jobs. In this way, it is thought that ingenuity is necessary to approach part-time jobs. The significance of this presentation is to improve the approach to part-time jobs. The purpose of this present the purpose of this presentation is to purpose how to approach part-time jobs for college students. This is today's outline. First, I will talk about current situation of part-time jobs for college students. Second, I will talk about what I learned from the questionnaire. Finally, I will suggest some recommend part-time jobs. Uh, Many university students do various part-time jobs. However, Iwata says that the more students focus on part-time work, the more they tend to neglect their students. Some students put their jobs before their uh, schoolwork. Therefore, I conduct a survey to find out what kinds of part-time jobs are suitable for university students. Uh, in the survey, 80% of the students said they have a part-time job. When asked what kind of job they do, most of them worked in the food service industry. Uh, the next most common jobs were Cram School of Private Tutor. Other worked in cleaning, customer service, one-time jobs of delivery service. Next, we asked how much money they earn per month. The results were varied. The most common answer were two, 200から300円。We also asked how many days a week they work. The most common answer was 3 days a week, followed by 2 days. Some students even worked 6 days a week. The most common result was the hourly wage is high, followed by it's close to home and it fits my lifestyle. Other reason include I like the job, my friends work there, I have free time, and there are free meals. Based on the results, I would like to think about what kinds of part-time jobs are suitable for university students. This is today's reference. Thank you for listening. Everyone, my name is Arata. I'd like to introduce Tsukika. She will give us presentation on the influence of MBTI. Eh, are you ready?
Hello everyone, my name is Tsukika Nakamura. Today I would like to talk about the influence of MBTI. Nowadays, society is gradually changing to respect diversity. However, there are still opposing views on the matter. Morism claimed that prejudice and conflict are arising toward cultural groups and ways of thinking. Meanwhile, Myers-Briggs type indicator, which classifies personalities into 16 types, is trending in recent years, hereafter referred to as MBTI. Utilizing MBTI may enable people to deepen mutual understanding. The objective of this presentation is to reveal effectiveness of MBTI in understanding each other. This is today's outline. First, I will talk about the benefits of MBTI. Second, I will reveal the true state of MBTI's influence. And finally, I conclude this presentation. MBTI has benefits for people. Morizumi and Kita claim that college students have low self-esteem by comparing themselves to people around them. Then they thought that MBTI was effective for self-understanding and recognizing diversity, and they had students take MBTI test. As a result, self-esteem, self-disclosure, and mutual understanding were deepened. Also, Dr. Abdullah et al. Claimed that by identifying differences in educators' personalities and teaching methods through MBTI test, educators' abilities and teaching methods are enhanced. Most people who took MBTI test don't feel impacts, but several people feel positive impacts. 60 people who had taken MBTI test responded the questionnaire surveyed in the study. Figure 1 summarizes the results of questionnaire survey. 62% of respondents don't feel impacts. 35% feel positive impacts. 3% of them feel both positive and negative impacts. And no one feels only negative impacts. Also, there are multiple positive contents. For example, finding a new side of oneself and improving the relationships. Incidentally, negative contents was that MBTI makes them view people with prejudice and worry about compatibility with people. Let me summarize today's presentation. The objective of this presentation was to reveal the effectiveness of MBTI in understanding each other. From this research, I found that MBTI has positive impacts and deepens understanding of oneself and others. It can be concluded that MBTI is effective for people understanding each other. These are references and questionnaire URL. Thank you for listening. Hello everyone, my name is Tsukika Nakamura. Today I would like to introduce Yosuke's presentation. His presentation theme is the relation of joining the sports club and people studying motivation. Are you ready to start?
Hello everyone, my name is Yosuke Sakawe. Today I'd like to talk about the relation of joining sports clubs and people studying motivation. In Faculty of Sports and Health Science, many students belong to sports clubs, so they balance both their club activities and studying. According to Hammer 2019, joining sports clubs gives students positive influence of their studying motivation. That's why, by researching these relations more clearly, it can connect raising studying motivation of students. The purpose of this presentation is to examine the relationship between joining sports clubs and studying motivation. This is the outline. First, I will talk about the relationship of habit of exercising and motivation to learn. Second, I will skip body 2 because I will talk about it in the final presentation. And this time, I will talk about body 3. I will show the results of the survey with university students. Finally, I will conclude what I have learned so far. Many people think that exercising regularly gives people various good effects. In these effects, I will consider the effect of studying motivation. According to Fanon and Hanan, 2017, physical exercise gives brain of people some function, and it has an impact on an improvement of academic performance. They also claim that recent studies report the relationship between physical exercise practice and academic performance of primary, secondary, and university. This shows that people exercising tend to be good influence on their study in every generation. Moreover, Sasayama no Noue claims that people can get self-esteem and good life skills by exercising. These things influence physical influence motivation to learn. That's why by exercising regularly, people will get their mental health and good grade. Generally speaking, sports club students more study and get better grades. However, actual investigation shows different results. Figure 1 shows a relationship between sports clubs and grade. Overall, sports club students get worse grade. They could not be enough time to study right before exams because of practicing their sports. Next, figure 2 indicates the relationship between sports clubs and studying time. Actually, sports club students could not get enough learning time. Finally, figure 3 indicates the relationship between sports clubs and studying motivation. From this figure, sports club students are more motivated to study. Let me summarize point of this presentation. The purpose of this presentation was to examine the relationship between joining sports clubs and studying motivation. From the presentation, from the research, it was found that sports club students get worse grades, but they have motivation to learn. In the next research, I will more examine these relations with more references. Thank you for listening. Hello, everyone. My name is Yosuke Kusakabe. Next presenter is Miu Shinohara. Her presentation title is The Relationship Between the Subjective Health and the Lifestyle. Are you ready?
Hello everyone, my name is Mii Shinohara. Today I would like to talk about subjective health. Do you feel healthy in your daily life? Everyone, my name is Shinohara. Today, I would like to talk about subjective health. Do you feel healthy in your daily life? According to Yanagisawa, these days it is said that subjective and personal indicators are more important than medical and collective them because of diversity of individual lifestyle or values. Especially for university students, it is important to keep healthy because they have a lot of things to do. So, subjective health will help you to check health state. The purpose of this presentation is to examine the relationship between subjective health and lifestyle. This is today's outline. First, I will talk about what subjective health is. Second, the influence of lifestyle to improve subjective health. Finally, I will conclude my research at this time. First, it seems that thank you. Subjective health shows the individual state of health. According to Yanagisawa et al., subjective health is defined as the evaluation of how a person feels about the state of health subjectively. Next, according to sports agency, people who are exercising in daily life feels more healthier than people who are not exercising. Also, according to Yanagisawa et al., the reasons to improve subjective health are the purpose of living a life, a good lifestyle, watching live sports, and the balance of nutrition. Then I researched the relationship of these elements. They look at this figure one. Among 73 students, university students, 20 answered very healthy, 44 answered healthy, 9 students answered not so healthy, and 0 students not healthy. Next, look at this figure 2. Among students who have a good lifestyle, 39% say very healthy, but only 5% say not so healthy. In contrast, look at figure 3. Students who are not good lifestyle say only 15% say they are very healthy, and 20% are not so healthy. Moreover, I found that less healthy students seem to have a lack of habit of exercising or watching live sports. However, the relationship between the purpose to living a life or the balance of nutrition and the subjective health were not very clear from my research. Finally, let me conclude my presentation. The purpose of this presentation was to research the relationship between subjective health and lifestyle. From my research, it is concluded that exercising and being related to sports being related sports improve good subjective health. Thank you. However, there are a lot of things I need to research more. So next, I want to research the exercising effects and whether a daily action leads to sports good health. These are references. Thank you for listening. It's me, Shinahara. Today, I will introduce Saika. Her presentation title is The Relationship Between the Frequency Instant Food Consumption, the Eating Habits, and Health Status. Saika, are you ready to start?
Hello everyone, my name is Sayaka Yamashita. Today I would like to talk about the relationship between frequency of the instant food consumption, eating habit, and health status. Sasaki reported that those students become to get used to university life. The percentage of those who do not eat 3 meals a day, 3 meals a day, and breakfast and feel sleep is increasing. Ichikawa reported that the consumption of instant food is related to skipping breakfast. It is important to how to consume instant food effectively. The purpose of this presentation is to examine the relationship between the frequency of instant food eating habit and health status. This is today's outline. First, I will introduce the relationship between the frequency of instant food eating habit and health status. Second, I will talk about I will explain based on questionnaire. Finally, I will give my conclusion. Nakayama reported that the students, instant foods are related to eating habit and health status. Nakayama Ito reported that the student in the high mental health status eat, consume green and yellow vegetable frequently, and the student in low mental health group consume instant food frequently. In addition, Hayashi reported that the percentage of consume instant food every day was 6.4% among those who ate breakfast and 83.9% among those who skipped breakfast. A questionnaire survey was conducted among 21 students. 42.9% of students consume instant food once a month. So the frequency of instant food is not particularly high. Among those who consume instant food once a month, about 80% reported that eating 3 meals a day almost every day. On the other hand, instant food, the frequency, those who consume instant food once a week consume reported eating 3 meals a day every day. So the relationship between the frequency of instant food eating habit and eating habit remained unclear. Regardless of whether individual consumed instant food frequency or infrequency, high proportion reported being in good health. So in this questionnaire, the relationship between the frequency of between the relationship between the relationship between the frequency of instant food eating habit and health status is unclear. Let me summarize the point of this presentation. The purpose of this presentation was to examine the relationship between the frequency of instant food eating habit and health status. While the research there is a relationship between the frequency of instant food consumption, eating habit, and health status, the actual questionnaire survey did not reveal a clear relationship. Uh, in the future, I would like to investigate how instant food consume effectivity. Thank you for listening. Hello everyone, my name is Sayaka. Today I would like to introduce Eugene. He will give us a presentation on the impact of exercise habits on the mental health of college students. Are you ready to start?
Hello everyone, my name is Kanzuki Yujin. Today I'd like to talk about the impact of exercise habits on the mental health of college students. Many people in Japan suffer from stress. In an experiment on college students' mental health, 40% of students experienced moderate stress. Furthermore, suicide is a significant issue in Japan, and suicide among college students also occur. Investigating the relationship between mental health and exercise can help solve this issue. The purpose of this presentation is to examine how exercise habits affect mental health. This is today's outline. First, I will talk about the positive mental effects of exercise. Second, I will show the results of a questionnaire on mental health and exercise habits targeting university students. Finally, I will conclude on the impact of exercise on mental health. Exercise has positive effects not only on the body but also on the mind. The benefits of exercise can be categorized as three types. The three effects are stress reduction, increased confidence, and mental stability. The reason for these three effects is that exercise causes endorphins to be released, which lifts your mood and improves your ability to cope with stress. And Bender claims that exercise is also effective in reducing anxiety, improving depression, and may promote neural growth in the brain's hippocampus. And Bender states that exercising with others rather than alone increases effectiveness while also providing social well-being and support. There is an experiment that examined how physical activity affects the mind in a sample of 624 Chinese university students. It has been found to affect the mind both directly and indirectly. As a result, Jian states that exercise not only improves physical fitness, but also enhances future-oriented thinking and contributes to mental health. The amount of time and frequency college students spend exercising each week affects their stress levels. In this research, uh, one week questionnaire of college students regarding exercise duration, frequency, and mental health questions. A higher total score indicates greater stress levels. Here are the results. Those who did not exercise at all scored about 27.5 points, while those who exercised 5 or more days per week scored 11 points. Therefore, it can be said that higher exercise duration and frequency are associated with a lower tendency toward stress. Let me summarize the points of this presentation. The purpose of this presentation was to examine how exercise habits affect the mental health. From the research, it was found that exercise has a significant impact on mental health and can reduce stress. It can be concluded that we should develop the habit of exercise with someone. Thank you for listening. Ichiro, he will give us a presentation on the impact of social media on concentration. Shuichiro, are you ready to start? Let's welcome Shuichiro.
Hello everyone, my name is Shuichiro Yamaguchi. Today I would like to talk about the impact of social media on concentration. Do you use social media regularly? For example, G's, Instagram, X, TikTok, YouTube, Line, Facebook, and more. According to Harishirai and Sadiq, excessive social media use has been shown to negatively impact academic performance and attention in Kosovo. This research explains how SNS affects concentration. In recent years, great attention has been paid to smartphone dependency. It is very important to learn how to manage SNS use. The purpose of this research is to examine the effect of SNS on concentration. This is today's outline. First, I will talk about the effect of decreased concentration on high school and college students. Second, based on the survey, I will clarify the relationship between modern student SNS usage and their concentration levels. Finally, I will recommend that how we should use SNS in the future. Cardosolate and amylidine gum also demonstrated that media use affects attention and mental health. This study examined how SNS affect concentration. Nagahiro and Yanase mentions the smartphone battery usage data was used to measure the time spent online, X, Instagram, and YouTube among university students, and this was analyzed in relation to their final exam score. The main finding confirmed a tendency for low academic performance among students who spent more online. and YouTube. Therefore, this study based on question. The aim is clarify the relationship between SNS use and concentration among contemporary students as well as their psychological and behavioral characteristics. Understanding the impact of SNS on attention is essential for effective study habits among students. This survey was conducted with a total of 24 students. Regarding average SNS usage time, only 12.5% of students used SNS for 0 to 2 hours, while over 40% used it for 5 hours or more. Furthermore, 70% of students felt SNS use reduced their concentration, and over 60% used SNS while studying. These results revealed a strong correlation between SNS use and concentration. Finally, here's a summary and future prospects. Social media negatively impacts concentration, and more people are dominated by SNS. I plan to investigate the danger of SNS dependence. Here are the listening. Thank you for listening.